Okay, so we are ready. I think somebody went away. Kalpana ji. Okay, let me put on this light. Happy, now it is good. So what I want to cover is on a very nice sutta. It's very beautiful. So it is Pāsarāsisutta, meaning searching. Whatever we are searching today in life, from the time we are born till we die, what is that we are searching? So we'll go completely. I think only two people now. Okay. So there is calm. Okay, so we just started. So the first thing is we need to understand is that what are we trying to seek or search. So there are two searches. One search is about life, usual worldly life, wherein we have to find food, we have to find shelter, clothing, medicines, and all that, and some comfort. So we might have to have a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler or something like that, and stay in a good place where we can get employment and we are earning sufficiently to take care of ourselves and the family. Okay, this is one. The second one is the Arya path, or the path of the noble. Now what's the difference? The difference here is this path, what we have selected right now, has a problem. The problem here is that it's going to decay or going into old age and death and sorrow. And also on the way we are going to collect a lot of asavas, or the corruption or impurities. So this is what we are going to have. On top of that, we are going to have something called as diseases. So this is what we are seeking. Now let's understand, are we really seeking that, or it's not that we are seeking that? So let's take when we were 5-year-old. So 1 to 5-year-old. In that time frame, lot of injections and lot of medicines, and then teeth coming, and then the pain of the teeth and all of that. We can see bhyadi Dhamma, or what we can call as disease. There is pain for sure, and then the pain is called as growing pain. So the child is growing and there is pain. The parents cannot do anything to relieve the pain. Only thing is that what can be assisted is through medicines. And the medicine, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but the pain is going to be there. So the child starts to cry. So it cries in the night, in the morning, and after some time it becomes all right. So a few days before the teeth comes out, lot of pain and lot of diarrhea kind of condition, and the child is not able to eat anything, it is throwing out. So problem for the parents, and the parents also cannot sleep properly, because if the child is not able to sleep, then the parents cannot sleep. And if they had two children with an age gap of 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, then they are multiplying the pain. So they have to undergo the same pain what they had undergone with the first child. So basically, if we see, we like that pain. Otherwise, we won't be doing that. So we are seeking it, that pain. Now, we love that pain. So there are two things which are happening. One is that we love the pain, and one is we seek the pain. For sure. Now, from the age of 5 to the age of 10, there is studies. So we need to start learning something. So then the person has to not only have diseases, but he also has to use, or he or she has to use their knowledge and write exams and do a lot of things. So it's a pain again. And the parents are unhappy in case the child is not doing well. And the school is unhappy if the child is not really doing what the teachers want. And the neighbors are unhappy if the child is not behaving well. And the society is not happy if the child is doing a lot of mischief, whatever it is. Then from the age of 10 to 15, the child grows into an adolescence or a teenager. So again, a lot of teenage related issues that comes up. Again, a pain. So there is a seeking of pain in terms of now the person has to do well in his school and get graduated from the school, and then he can go into the college and all that. So from the age of 15 to 25, if we take the 10 years, and then the person is done his graduation and masters, and then he seemingly settled to do something else now. Again, a pain of searching for a job, and you have to do something about interviews and how to give interviews and learn the art of talking and all that thing. And from the age of 25 till 50, that person undergoes work pressure, and home people will say, now that you are settled, so why don't you get married? So then the person feels that, yes, even I have to get married. And sometimes it so happens that the girl he has already found and he wants to marry, or she wants to marry the boy, and the marriage happens, and then the child happens, and then it continues. So if we see this Dhamma, it's basically continuing the pain. So what's that is going to happen in the future? So there are two things, in the past and in the future. If I compare the past, I have not done anything except for this. 100%. There is no doubt. If I compare the future or consider the future, I would be doing the same thing. I don't think so I'll be doing anything different than what I'm doing today. If I am fortunate as a human being, again, maybe I'll do the same thing. If I am unfortunate enough, maybe I will do the same thing in a different body. But if I am fortunate enough to be a deva or some other, so it takes a long time before I come back to this existence. But there also it is a pain, because I cannot retain that state. So basically, the Jara Dhamma cannot be changed. Meaning, if there were yesterday, and I cannot get it back, no matter what I do. So just like on YouTube, when the streaming is finished, it shows streamed 0 second ago. That ago will come. That ago means aged. It's already aged. That stream is aged. In the same way, when the being enters into the womb, the consciousness enters into the womb and its thing is over. Its honeymoon period is over. It was floating around, now it is caught up in the womb. It's a matter of time that it will have to suffer the consequence of getting into the womb. That's for sure. There's nothing that being can do except for suffering, and endlessly till it goes out of that body. Now the problem with this, once it enters into the womb, how long it will be there in the womb, that is known, but how long it is going to be there in that body, that is unknown. So we have created a mathematical formula to decide, okay, 9.5 months, 9 months, some few days, the child will be out, or by 10th month, the child will be out. So the jara has happened. At the beginning, there was no physical structure. And at the end of 9.5 months, there is a physical structure. There is a face, and there is a shoulder, there is a neck and stomach and everything. And the mother's anxiety is whether the child will come without C-section or will it be normal delivery. In either way, the mother has to bear the pain. There's no way she can get the baby just like this. She has to literally suffer. So if it is a C-section, few days of pain after stitching and all that, and then go for dressing and all of that, and air will enter inside, so she will put on weight. If it is normal delivery, then it depends on how that child will come and get its head down, and the mother has to suffer, crying and crying and crying to get the baby out. And after coming out, whether it has ears, nose, tongue, eyes, skin, etc., etc., is another anxiety. It's properly developed or not. What if it is a premature baby? Nothing can be done. What if it is exceedingly growth, that it is stuck? Nothing can be done. It's halfway come, and the mother is trying to push, and the doctors are saying, please push. And the mother says, how much should I push? I'm feeling totally, I'm going into unconsciousness of pushing. I'm feeling tired of pushing. So it's a really horror, but then we love it. So the mother has seen the first time she ever had this pain, she has seen the problem, but the mind will say, why don't we have it again? We should have 2 children. So again she goes through labor pain. Okay, now this is called seeking. We are in search of that. The very thing we hate is the pain, and the very thing we love. It's very strange that we love something which we really don't want to encounter. So what Buddha is talking in this sutta is that when we exactly follow something like which creates this rebirth, then that is liable to grow old. It will fall sick. I'll die. And there will be sorrow. And there will be sankilesa. The kleshas are going to be there. The kleshas which are representative of the raga, dvesha, moha are going to be there. One cannot exit out of this. And now the question comes, what is that is liable to be reborn? So now, the son and the wife, or the husband and the children, are liable to be reborn. How? Well, I want to be the wife. I believe I am the wife. Or I believe I am the husband. Or I believe strongly that I am the son. Or I strongly believe that I am the daughter. Then there are servants, and they believe that they are the servants. And there are these domesticated animals. So at that time there were domesticated animals kept in their homes. So all the domesticated animals, including elephants, are treated as assets, wealth, and ultimately gold and silver. So now in our case, we can replace right now from the sheep and goat and chickens and pig, elephant, cattle and all that to something very materialistic in nature. That is, we can take car, we can take the investments, we can take the mutual fund, we can take the jobs we are doing, we can take the promotions and other kind of incentive, we can take the travel to foreign countries and then staying there or working there or getting a job in those countries. So all of this are liable to be reborn. Now how that reborn thing is going to happen? Because I constantly keep on thinking that I need to get that. So these are liable to be reborn. And I am totally attached to that, infatuated with it. And I'm going to seek something which also makes it liable to be reborn. Meaning the wife and the son, the daughter and the friends and all of these are reborn every day. Or at least they are reborn after death. Back in the same state, they are again reborn. Same thing, I am also reborn. In terms of getting that rebirth consciousness which keeps on aspiring for the next life, in the next moment. So today when I sleep, I pray God that let my wife remain, let my son remain, let myself remain, let everything remain. And that a kind of confidence, I'm going to sleep. So that rebirth is going to happen. Now if that is true, then it should grow old also. Yes, absolutely. I was an infant and my parents were an infant and they became child. So I became a child. Then they became adolescent and I too become an adolescent. Then I became an adult. when I became an adult, they got married and they had children. So I am that child who has come out of them, and today I have a child for myself. Then they came to middle age, so I have come to middle age. Then they came to old age. I am yet to come to old age. They both are no longer there. I am still there. But what I can see is the way I am going, someday I would not be there. I don't know which day is that, but that someday I would not be there. Same thing with my partners, my partner, or in the case of my wife, same thing. She married me, I married her. That is gone. She is aged. So she was a small child, infant, and she became a child, and then she became a teenager, and then she became an adult, and then she married, and then she got into middle age. Now we both are in the middle ages. We are yet to reach the old age and then the death. And my son, same thing. And the people around me, same thing. So, and also the trees and the plant and the animals and everything that we see are also getting aged, decayed. And also the recordings what I am doing on YouTube is also aging. So the first recording I started was in 2018. That means already it has aged to 3 years. 3 years completed. What it means is that if that was a child, its age is 3 years. If it is the YouTube video, that video is 3-year-old or 3+-year-old. So that time the voice what I had, that time the knowledge what I had, that time the identification what I had, everything is gone. There's nothing about that voice, there's nothing about whatever I had or possessed or whatever it is. It's just a memory. Whether I spoke very well on that day or I did not speak very well on that day, it really doesn't matter. That if I consider that's my voice, then I am attached to it. So if I'm attached to it, that voice is liable to grow old. That means at the age of 70, let's say, I cannot be able to talk the way I had spoken in 2018. And right now the way I am talking seems to be the same, but it is not. There would be difference between the voice of 2018 and the voice now. It is very subtle, but it is different. So it has grown old, and my face has grown old. And if I consider my 10-year-old photograph to now, it has grown old. If a 30 years photograph to now, it has grown old. And the hairs at that time on the head or on the mustache and the beard and all that, those hair have changed. The colors have changed. And how many times I have gone to haircut? Those number of times. If I were to compare, it's all changed. That means it has aged. So then there is Vyadi Dhamma, which means falling sick. Who will fall sick? Well, again, the son and the daughter and the partner, parents, elders in the family, then whatever can fall sick. Dog, cats and all other things, domesticated animals, if I were to rear them, they are going to fall sick. And there is one beautiful sickness which we have is hunger, that can never be cured. So to keep on eating. The moment we eat high dosage of food, again there is vyadhi, sickness. If I don't eat, again there is sickness. So the sickness is going to be there. And as I go on aging, of cycle of aging, certainly the sickness is going to grow more and more. So the bones are going to get brittle, the muscles are going to become loose, it loses the strength, and the skin's elasticity is going to reduce. So that is going to bring in lot of diseases, and I cannot escape for sure. If it doesn't come, my fortune, and I can only hope, pray that let it not come. But it might not come to me, but I have no way of redemption. If it comes to my wife, if it comes to my son, if I can come to my mother-in-law, if I can come to my brother and his wife, his daughter, like that, relatives, friends, close associates, partners, people staying near my building or in the apartment where I'm staying. Like in the case of corona, nobody can say anything, or any other diseases. So if it is not coming to me, okay, maybe good luck, good karma, it's not happening, but that doesn't mean that nobody else will get. I can only hope though, I can only pray to God, please, please, please don't give this disease. But God cannot do anything. If there is disease coming, nobody can do anything. So all of these are going to fall sick. Now who is going to die? Apart from me, every other person, whomever I know, is going to die. So now the parents grew old and they have died. My father-in-law is no longer there. Only my mother-in-law is there, and she is getting aged. That means sooner or later she will get sick and then she is going to die. And the same thing will happen to my son and my wife and other people around me. If I could survive, or I am going to go away leaving them in sorrowful state. So who are going to die? All those which I have an association, or all those which they have an association, are going to die. Nothing that can be done. And because there is death, certainly there is going to be sorrow. Soka Dhamma. So now this sorrow is unlimited, infinite for every one of us. When we lose our loved ones, it takes a long period of time to recoup, to get back. And in COVID-19 cases, we have seen where so many families have lost their loved ones, the near ones. The wife has lost the husband, or the husband has lost the wife, and husband and wife lost their children, or the children lost their parents or to COVID. I know one case where a 6-year-old brother and a 3-year-old sister, they lost both the parents to COVID. The husband died first, and within 8 days, the wife also died, and the child is just 6 and 3. I also know another case wherein the parents had gone out and they met up with an accident, and then I had gone to a bank, and this relative of that child, custodian had come asking for money, and the bank said that until the child becomes 18, no money can be given. So the custodian was not able to get any money for the child. So we have these cases. But again, we can only hope, we can only pray that nothing of that should happen. So we can say touch wood or touch this or touch that, or whatever we want to touch, we can keep on touching, but nothing that can be done, because all of these are liable for dissolution or death. And that's one which creates sorrow. And I'm thinking that I am the partner, that is the husband or the wife or the son or the daughter, or I'm the friend or I'm the enemy, and I am a neighbor, or I'm a countryman, and I am a patriot, and I am this religion, I'm that religion, I am this knowledgeable person and that knowledgeable person, and I have this much of property and this much of business, and this is what I work. And these are my cars, and these are my possessions, and all of my savings, etc. So this is liable to corruption. All of these are corruption of the mind. It is actually a sankilesa. Sankilesa means knowingly doing the klesha. We know that we should not be doing, but we are doing it because that is how this world will push us to do, push the person to do. So the kleshas are going to continue now and for the future. And the investments, the money, gold, silver, other ornaments, and then we celebrate our anniversaries and birthdays, and giving a lot of dresses and gold chain and silverware, then buying new luxurious cars and motorbikes, going here and there. I want to visit these many countries. 100 things to do before I die, 500 things to do before I die, or 10 things to do before I die, 10 countries to visit before I die, etc., etc., etc. All of these are sankilesa. So that will continue. So where all does it continue? It again continues with the partners, that is the wife and the son and daughter, etc., etc. So we are in fact infatuated. So we love it. So on one side we have come to Buddha Dhamma to understand this, but on the other side we would love to continue on that because we are habituated. We cannot let go of what we are habituated with. So Buddha Dhamma is, as far as we are concerned, is just like a board over something. So we can just stand on that. But we don't want to give up what we are doing today. Because I don't even know that something of this can happen. I know that anybody born is going to die. It's not that only Buddha has to tell me. I know it. Anybody who is born is going to get sick. That's absolutely true. I can see people going to... But the confidence in me says that, I have taken care of my health in such a way that I will not go to hospital. I have taken care of my health in such a way that I can die very late in my life, but I will enjoy. life before I close my eyes. So in the next life, I will be doing exactly the same thing. With the Buddha Dhamma or without Buddha Dhamma, it doesn't really matter. Knowing Buddha Dhamma or not knowing Buddha Dhamma also doesn't matter. Because I'm doing whatever I was doing earlier. So last moment, I was doing this. Right now, I'm doing that. In future also, I'll be doing that only. So there's a famous statement, we can't do the same experiment and expect different result. It's not possible. We have to do something different to get a different result. If we continue to do what we were doing, the result also will be the same. So presently, unless we change ourselves from the inner, looking at the danger, we are going to be basically a husband or a wife or a brother, sister, neighbor, friend, and all these kind of things. And we deeply believe that we are that. I deeply believe I'm an American, or I deeply am an European. I deeply believe I'm a Scandinavian, and I deeply believe I'm an Indian, and I'm an Asian, and I'm a Sri Lankan, and I'm Malaysian, and I'm a Burmese, and I deeply believe in tradition. I believe I'm from Sri Lankan tradition, or an Indian tradition, or a Burmese tradition, or a Thai tradition, or this tradition, or that tradition. And I also deeply believe that I'm a Hindu, or a Muslim, or a Christian, or a Buddhist, or a Jain, or Hebrew, or a Zoroastrian, or this or that. So I strongly believe that. All of my belief system are liable to birth, decay, death, sorrow, and klesha. All my faith, whatever I have, are liable to be born, liable to get into old age, liable to die, and then liable to sorrow, and liable to create kleshas. So whether in human realm I'm going to be there, whether I believe in next life or I don't believe in next life at all, it doesn't matter. This is going to be there. Now this he calls it as anariya pariyesana. Pariyesana means seeking or searching. Keep on searching on an anariya. What I can do is I can offer homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and continue doing exactly whatever I am doing. So then there is some punya. So that gives me good amount of money and food and shelter, clothing and medicines. So where does people spend their time? People spend their time in accumulation. And when we accumulate something, it's liable to get decreased. So we had a breakfast, then that liable to get decreased, so you had to have lunch, and again that will decrease, and then again you have to have dinner, and then again you have to have breakfast, and again lunch, and again dinner. So for buying breakfast, lunch, dinner, we have to be earning. The moment we spend, again we have to earn. There's nothing like I spend once and there ends the matter. No. Again I have to earn. And since the summer is going to be there, or the winter is going to be there, or something is going to be there, I need to have a good shelter. So that doesn't come for free. So I have to pay good amount of money if I were to buy it, or I have to go and stay in a rented property. And that doesn't end there. I need to pay the premium to the hospital because hospitalization is expensive. So I need to buy insurance to go to hospital. Now I need to keep on paying the premium. Whether I go to the hospital or not, in the fear of not going to hospital, in the fear of not going to spend the money, I have to go and pay good amount of money to the insurance company. And the insurance company will make money out of this one. And knowing very well that everybody gets sick, the pharmaceutical companies make profit. And the same thing, people are hungry to eat, so the hotel business booms and they make profit. And in the same way, the house, everybody requires the house, so those people construct and make profit, more profit than anything else. So food, shelter, and clothing. Different kinds of clothes. So some people say that cotton is good, rayon is good, polyester is good, this is good, that is good, some branded ones. So I keep on buying the branded to enjoy. So the more the branded, the better. Then for the occasion, I need to dress for the occasion. So I am going for marriage and I have to wear something that gets old, so I have to discard it and buy. So all those are also liable for decay, for death. It gets torn, so I need to throw it and buy a new one. But the day I bought it, it was looking so extraordinarily good, but after a few washes, it's lost its luster, it's getting aged, and after some time the cloth doesn't have any good looking there, so I then give it to someone, a beggar. Or there are places like pigeonholes where I can keep the old dresses, where the people who don't have dress can take it and go. So this is what I can do, and this gives papa and punya, but that is anariya. Now what is ariya? Ariya is something where the person knows what he is doing. He knows that the drawbacks of being reborn. He knows the drawback of falling sick, dying and sorrow and getting corrupted. So looking at this, what is that he is going to do? He is going to do something which will take him out of this state. That means he is going to look at how to get rid of it. Yoga Kema, that means his own sanctuary, his own good thing, which is Nibbana. So he will start to think that if something is Sankata, then there should be something which is Asankata. Meaning, if there is Sankata, conditioned, it means that Raga is conditioned, Dvesha is conditioned, and Moha is conditioned. Because when something is conditioned, then to get that very thing, I should have Raga. And that creates Lobha, greed. Then if I don't get what I desire to have it, then I will get Dvesha, hatredness, anger, and rage, etc., including irritation, agitation. Then Moha, that I exist and it is for me. So if something is Sankata, and then the something should be Asankata also. And Asankata is no Raga, no Dvesa, that is Ragakhayo, Dosakhayo, Mohakhayo, is Asankata. So if something is so deceptively good looking, that means something should be real as well. So in the money-making game of food, shelter, clothing, and medicine, the four requisites, all the people are making their money on these four things only. Hotels make hotels, resorts, all of this, and restaurants make profit on food. Then they ensure that the person falls sick. So the hospitals then make good amount of money. And the pharmaceuticals also make good amount of money because it's a profit center. There is nothing wrong with that. In the hospitals and hotels, there's nothing wrong. And shelter, real estate, it's a booming business. So you make money. Clothing, it's the biggest industry, including fashion. So all the four gives rise to something called as entertainment. So eat merrily, dress merrily, stay merrily, and you have to suffer the hospitalization, so you have to do that. Establish yourself in the best of the hospital so that the best of the care can happen and the best of the life can be got back. The physical health can be got back so I can continue my enjoyment. Whereas the person who knows this will not go behind it. He sees that that is liable to corruption. And all of these four, food, shelter, clothing, medicine, are completely corrupted. There is no other way to define that it is klesha for his awakening. So I'll just cover this before his awakening, how he was lavishly doing certain things, and then what did he ultimately find, and the remaining things of he finding the teacher and what are the experiences and everything. We will take it up tomorrow. So he says that before my awakening, when I was an unawakened but intended to get awakened, I was also being liable to be reborn. I was seeking what is going to be reborn. And I also saw that I am going behind whatever grows old and falls sick and dies, sorrow and become corrupted. And I was seeking the same thing which I really hated not to happen. So I was doing exactly the same thing as everyone else will do. Then it occurred to me, should I not go for something, seeking for something which is unborn, unaging, unailing, undying, sorrowless, uncorrupted, supreme sanctuary worth of extinguishment? So sometime later, while I was pretty young, having a good matted hair, blessed with youth in prime life, though my mother and father wished that I should not be taking on this path, they were weeping with their tearful eyes. I went ahead, not making it known to anyone. One day, I shaved off my hair and beard, dressed in the kasayana, meaning ochre robes, all colored robes of either red or orange, which will show that a person is living his family life, and became an anagarya. Anagarika means a person who has given up his house, first in his mind, and gets ready to become a bhikkhu. So it's understand the defect of being a family person. So that helps a lot if somebody becomes an anagarika and then really work out in his mind or her mind. So what Buddha did is that he really came out of the home. He became an anagarika without any home. So he became homeless. So now what made him to become homeless? It's not about the story. What they say is that he saw a dead person or a old person, a sick person, and a person who was seeking truth. That really helped him, but actually what he was trying to do was this, what is explaining in the sutta, that he is seeing, or this is, see, the Buddha Dhamma is something where you don't have to believe some tradition, you don't have to believe some dogmas, you don't have to believe something saying that no, this is act of God or act of this, act of that, and then it will automatically take care and all that. You can see it through your eyes. It doesn't matter who the person is, or it doesn't matter what the animal is. It doesn't matter any being whatsoever is liable for aging, is liable for death, and is liable for sorrow. The other people who are going to be there are going to be in sorrow if that person goes away. If the person is losing other people, then he is going or she is going to be in sorrow. But this is going to be certain. So in that way, this is the one he wanted to seek. He wanted to know the path for asankata, wherein if something is conditioned, there should be something which is also unconditioned as well. How can it be that everything is conditioned? That means to say there is no way anybody can get relief from this suffering, because conditionality brings in suffering. If it is conditioned that after being born you are going to go old, and everything grows old, not only I getting old, everything gets into old. It gets an old look. So we call it as a vintage. Why? Because it's old. Take a product, after a few years, it's old. Nobody cares. So even if I were to resell, nobody buys. So let's say I have a mobile phone which I had bought of Nokia, and it is Nokia 3310 as a model, and that time the model was so expensive. So let's say I paid around $200 for that phone at that point in time. Now if I were to ask somebody to buy, the company itself is not there, and they are going to ask me to throw it into the dustbin. That's the value of that $200 worth of that mobile phone. And the same thing, we had pagers. That is gone, long gone. Then we had these address books, electronic address books, PDA, personal digital assistant. That is gone. Then we had transistors where people used to listen. That is gone. With the advent of television, these transistors were out of business. Then washing machines came, and then vacuum cleaners, and then this, that, all of that replaced something which was being done. So they are no longer there. There is no market for those products. So if we were to see, end of life and aging is there for every product, be it whatever the company is preparing today. Apple Macintosh, initially, those Apple products which were made have died. If you take Windows system, operating system, they came up with DOS disk operating system, and that no longer is available. Then they have the floppy drive. So there were bigger floppy drive and a smaller floppy drive, and they are no longer there. And then came the CD, compact disc. So people used to listen to the songs and play it on the computer and all that. And then came CD man. Then there were CD players. All that went out of business. So we can see for sure anything that is created will go through this cycle. So that's the reason it is called sankata, conditioned. So anything that is conditioned by space and time is going to end up in its end. Sooner or later, that product is not going to survive for long, no matter whatever it was. So if we look at Apple's story, success story of the Apple when they started with iPhone, that iPhone which initially Steve Jobs started is no longer there, and Steve Jobs himself is not there. Apple as a company might be running. Now the Bill Gates, who was working so hard on the Windows and then the Microsoft Office, etc., now he is into something else. He's doing something else other than what I was doing as Microsoft. And something similar with every organization from Yahoo to this company to that company, Indian companies and westernized companies and this company, that company, real estate companies, medical tourism, everything if we take, and the tourism in general, are seasonal and they are liable to die. You cannot sell the same package after that year because the hotels are going to hike the prices, so it's no longer valid. So the new version has come. The flight tickets are going to be changed. So a new version has come. So they have a very short life. So that means anything that is conditioned, including our lives, it's going to be out of business. So what we need to seek is not this. What we need to seek is what gives asankata, unconditioned. If we are attached to conditioned, this is what is going to happen. So as long as I believe I'm a husband, as long as I believe I'm an employee, as long as I believe I'm an employer, as long as I'm believing I'm a businessman, I'm this, I'm that, that deep feeling is going to create the life of that kind. And it again goes through this jati, jara, marana, soka and sankilesa. So there would be reason for rebirth, there would be reason for old age, there would be reason for death, and in between comes the vyadhi, the disease. Even the product goes into diseases, so we get bugs and we get a lot of problems, and the customers complain on the slowness of the product. So ultimately the company has to release a new version of that product. Same thing with vacuum cleaners, same thing with refrigerators, same thing with everything around. It's not only computers, anything, car, same. Motorbike, same. Scooters, same. House, same. Everything is the same. It's going to get aged. The building gets aged. So then you require painting regularly. And after some time, no paint is going to hold it because it's going for death. So the building has to be raised down, and a new one has to be constructed in its place, which is death. So there is a sorrow of losing that home, which one really lived in that home. So there should be something for sure which is unconditioned. So let's look at, after analyzing this condition deeply today, let's meet again tomorrow to really see what is that unconditioned. Can we do it? Can a normal person other than the Buddha. Can we do that? Is it possible? Is it something reasonable? Is it something that can be achieved? And what can Buddha give us? And how can we then practice and get into Arhat? So, can we become an Arhat in this life and believe in the Buddha, believe in his Dhamma, and believe in the Sangha? And can we get into the asankata, then sankata? Can we purify? So the four things he talks about. One is sattanam visuddhya, purifying the beings. Soka paridevanan samathikkhamaya, going beyond the sorrow and lamentation. Dukkhado manasanam attangamaya, removal of dukkha, the bodily pain, and the mental worries and pain. Nyayasya adhigamaya, the principles, the practices, what he is going to provide will make things cross over those experiences which are painful. Nibbanasya satchikiriyaya, enabling one to experience the Nibbana for oneself in this very life, and either as a Sotapanna or a Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhat. So this is what we can do for tomorrow. So let's meet up again tomorrow to understand these four. And also one another thing before we leave, we need to see is that there are another 7 things what we have to consider. Number 1, whatever we are following in the worldly life, is it creating disillusionment? Including spirituality, whatever we are following, is it going to give us disillusionment? Nibiddhaya. Then is it going to give us the disenchantment? Viragaya. A third one, is it going to give us the cessation of that pain? Nirodhaya. Is it going to give us a peaceful existence without worries and pains? Upasamaya. Is it going to provide us with insight how things work? Abhinyaya. Is it going to give us that knowledge to free oneself? Adhigamaya. Then is it going to release completely without residue? Nibbanaya. So we need to consider these 7. So when we consider these 7, that anything that we follow should have nibbida, then it should have viraga, nirodha, upasamaya, abhinyaya, and then nibbanaya. this would greatly help us when we truly practice it without giving any break, without losing the goal. Because now that we have seen the problem of Sankata, we should do something in order to relieve oneself from this samsara. So before closing, we need to look at Nibbidda, Viraga, Nirodha, Upasama, Abhinyaya, Sambodhaya, Nibbanaya, Samvattati. So ultimately it should give rise to these 7: disillusion, dispassion, cessation, peace, insight, awakening, and extinguishment. So that which gives us this is asankata. So then that ends the matter, because you have reached the other shore, from pain to painless. So let's meet up tomorrow. Any questions?
Sir, my question is that if we are the Sotapanna, so next life we will know that we are the Sotapanna in last previous birth.
If you're Sotapanna, what?
Next birth, we realize that we are the Sotapanna in last birth.
Yeah, you will come to know you are a Sotapanna, just like what has happened with me. Is that you will get the Buddha Dhamma easily and you can penetrate easily. So you will know that you were a Sotapanna in the earlier life. That you can yourself know it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Any other question?
No question, but I would like to say one thing. Before it was Anapanasati, and this particular sutta, it seems like it is in very much sync with what we went through in Anapanasati and the practice of that as well. So I think this will be really helpful, sir, going forward.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, nobody has any other question, then we can end for today. Anyone have a question? Yes, Preeti ji. No question. Okay, nobody has any question. Okay then. See you tomorrow with Asankata. Good night.
Good night. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Thank you.